Welcome to the results video for UFC 317, where we will find out which UFC prediction channels had the most and least correct picks, the highest and lowest return on investment, which ones have the best results with their method of victory predictions, and which ones are on the longest winning or losing streak. But first, we start with the totals and also compare the Oddsmakers versus the Tapology community and the YouTube prediction channels. On this card there were a total of 11 fights. I've tracked predictions from 141 channels and they made a total of 1455 predictions for an average of 10.3 per channel. As a side note, I've also tracked method of victory predictions from 98 channels and they made a total of 873 method of victory predictions. Out of the 1455 picks, 992 were correct for 68.2%, which is higher than the average of 63.5%. And 463 were incorrect for 31.8%. On this card, the favorite fighter in odds won 9 out of 11 fights, and had you placed a $100 moneyline bet on all the favorites on this card, you could have won $198 for a return on investment of 18%. And only 2 underdogs won, Peyton Talbot with plus 140 and Beneil Dariush with plus 135. And had you placed that same $100 moneyline bet on all the underdogs, you could have had a return on investment of minus 56.8%. The favorite in picks by the Tapology community won only 7 out of 11 for a minus 13.8% return on investment. What about the favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels? They won 8 out of 11 for a 7.6% ROI. So for this event, the Oddsmakers were best at picking the favorite fighter. As always, for the least and most correct picks, we will only look at channels that made picks on at least half of all the fights on this card, which is a minimum of 6. In 5th place, for least correct picks, we have the following 16 channels, in alphabetical order, with 6 out of 11 correct for 54.5%. In 4th place, we have these 6 channels, also in alphabetical order, with 5 out of 11 correct for 45.5%. Sansu Tips is in 3rd place with 3 out of 8 for 37.5%. And in 2nd place is Aniki MMA with 4 out of 11 correct for 36.4%. And in 1st place, the channel with the least correct picks is the MMA Sensei. He had 2 out of 6 correct for 33.3%. Which channels had the most correct picks this week? And usually, when we have a lot of favorites winning the fights and not so many fights on the card in total, we see a lot of channels having the exact same results, which we can see with the channels who were 4th for the most correct picks, because we have a total of 20 channels in alphabetical order who had 9 out of 11 fights correct for 82%. In 3rd place, we have the Die Hard MMA podcast. He had 9 out of 10 picks correct for 90%. In 2nd place, we have a total of 8 channels that had 10 out of 11 picks correct for 91%. And in 1st place, for having the highest correct pick percentage, we have the Sportsbook Killer with 7 out of 7 correct for 100%. So, congratulations to the Sportsbook Killer for having the highest correct pick percentage, and also of course the rest of the channels. Links to the top 3 can be found in the video description. And here is the complete list of all 141 channels that made predictions on this card, with their correct picks, total picks and correct pick percentage.
For the most profitable and unprofitable predictors this week, we will only track channels that made picks on at least 50% of all the fights, which is 6 for this card. Every pick counts, regardless of confidence level or odds preference. We place a $100 bet on each pick to win their fight, aka the money line. We calculate the results using the odds from the tail of the tape. The rankings are based on the return on investment percentage.
Which UFC prediction channels could have lost you the most money if you had blindly followed all of their picks and had placed a $100 moneyline bet on each pick? At number 9, we have Fallen Angel MMA, MMA Bet Fiber, and Adam from MMA Oddsbreaker. All 3 of them made the exact same 11 picks for a return on investment of minus 29%. At number 8 is Utica from Bros Talk MMA with a minus 32.3% ROI. By joint decision is in 7th place with minus 34.1%. With minus 34.7% we have Sansu Tips at number 6. Opening up the top 5, we have Zlatan's Fight Picks with minus 38.8%, and with 0.1% worse return on investment for 38.9%, we have High Jive Picks at number 4. Guaranteed from Bros Talk MMA is in 3rd place with minus 42%. And in 2nd place, we have Aniki MMA with a return on investment of minus 51.1%. And the most unprofitable predictor this week, at number 1, we have the MMA Sensei. He made 6 predictions and had a return on investment of minus 56.5%. Which channels would have made you the most money if you blindly followed all of their picks and placed a $100 moneyline bet on each of them? At number 8 we have the MMA Prediction Guru with a return on investment of 32.7% over his 11 picks. Sharing 7th place with the exact same picks we have Leftlane MMA, Pure Picks and the MMA Fortune Teller for a return on investment of 39.3%. In 6th place is the Die Hard MMA Podcast with a return on investment of 44% over his 10 picks. Sharing 5th place with the exact same picks we have JP Bet Journal and MMA Eagle with a return on investment of 44.8% over their 11 picks. With a return on investment of 45.8% we have Lightning MMA in 4th place. And with a 0.2% higher return on investment for 46% we have Warhorse MMA in 3rd place. In 2nd place we have The Wager Zone. He had a return on investment of 48.6% over his 11 picks. And the most profitable predictor this week with the highest return on investment was the Sportsbook Killer. He only made 7 picks, but over those 7 picks he had a return on investment of almost 57%. So congratulations to the Sportsbook Killer for being the most profitable predictor and having the highest correct pick percentage this week. A link to his channel and the rest of the top 8 can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 141 channels that I've tracked this week, including those with less than 6 picks, with their money won or lost and the return on investment percentage. And now let's take a look at the Method of Victory prediction results, which are the latest predictions that I've started tracking since this week, which should give us a much more accurate result of who are the best predictors. For the most correct Method of Victory predictions, I only show channels that made Method of Victory predictions on at least half of all the fights on this card, so a minimum of 6 again. In 5th place we have the following 6 channels in alphabetical order, and all of them had 6 Method of Victory predictions correct out of 11 for 54.5%. In 4th place we have Knockout Picks with 4 out of 7 correct for 57%. In 3rd place is Warhorse MMA with 6 out of 10 correct for 60%. Sharing 2nd place we have JP Bet Journal and Pick'em MMA, and they both had 7 out of 11 Method of Victory predictions correct. And in 1st place with the highest correct pick percentage for Method of Victory predictions we have Dissection of Violence with 4 out of 6 correct for 66.7%. So congratulations to Dissection of Violence and the rest of the top 5 for having the most correct Method of Victory predictions this week. A link to all of these channels can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 81 channels that made a minimum of 6 Method of Victory predictions with their correct picks, total picks and correct pick percentage. For the most profitable Method of Victory predictors we will have the same disclaimer, which basically says you blindly follow all of their Method of Victory predictions and you place a $100 bet on each of them, and disregarding if they like the odds or their confidence levels. To calculate the results for the Method of Victory predictions, we use the average odds from oddsjam.com. I took a screenshot half an hour before the event started for every fight on this card with the Method of Victory odds, and also the odds are rounded up or down to the nearest 5 or 0. So, for example, minus 174 becomes minus 175. At number 10 for most profitable Method of Victory predictor is The Prestige, with a profit of $423 over his 11 Method of Victory predictions for 38.4% ROI. At number 9 we have Leftlane MMA with 48.9% ROI over his 11 Method of Victory predictions. Sharing number 8 we have Coty MMA and Hank's Warzone. Both of them had the same 6 Method of Victory predictions correct out of their 11 for an ROI of almost 50%. With a return on investment of 56.7% we have Knockout Picks in 7th place. In 6th place is MMA BG with a return on investment of 61.4%. In 4th place we have JakeGerberMMA. He made 11 Method of Victory predictions and had a return on investment of 63.4%. In 4th place is Dissection of Violence with a return on investment of 73%. With a return on investment of 10% higher, we have Warhorse MMA in 3rd place with 83.2%. In 2nd place, we have Pick'em MMA. He had a return on investment of almost 90% over his 11 Method of Victory predictions. And in 1st place, the channel who was the most profitable with their Method of Victory predictions, we have JP Bet Journal. He made a profit of $1,068 over his 11 Method of Victory predictions for a very good return on investment of 97.1%. So, congratulations to JP Bet Journal for being the most profitable method of victory predictor this week. And also congratulations to the rest of the top 10 in this list. A link to all of these channels can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 81 channels that made a minimum of 6 method of victory predictions with their money won or lost and a return on investment. For the longest winning and losing streak is based on the picks for the winner of each fight. And I have good news for myself and Angelo from We Want Picks because I didn't have to make a new slide, which means he finally had a profitable week. On a 3-week losing streak we have the following 23 channels in alphabetical order. Out of those 23, the following 7 channels are on a 4-week losing streak. And out of those 7, 6 are on a 5-week losing streak. On a 6-week losing streak we have LMG MMA Picks, the Mike Finn Show and the True Analyst, but none of them have a 7-week losing streak. On a 2-week winning streak we have the following 15 channels in alphabetical order. And did you notice something? The 2 channels at the top, Dissection of Violence and James Lynch, have the exact same results over the last 2 weeks. But if you look further, also MMA Data Guy. And I double checked quickly and yes, it's correct. All 3 of them have the exact same predictions over the last 2 weeks. On a 3-week winning streak we have the following 6 channels. And out of those 6 channels, only 2 channels are on a 4-week winning streak, which are Dissection of Violence and Slim MMA. And only one of them is on a 5-week winning streak, which is Dissection of Violence. So, congratulations to Dissection of Violence for having the longest winning streak of all YouTube prediction channels. Hope you enjoyed the results video of the best and worst predictors this week. If you did or found it helpful, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to support the channel while getting exclusive updates, consider becoming a Patreon supporter or a member on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you so much for watching, have a great week and I will see you in the next video.